One guy who was argued by some to be an MVP consideration, and maybe if there was no tush-push last year, he would have been because he would have had a lot more touchdowns than he had, Saquon Barkley. He was on the Greenlight podcast with former Eagles and Patriots and Rams defensive lineman Chris Long. Here's the question that was asked. I don't think the question is included. The question was this: do you want to take the Aaron Donald approach to retirement or play until your wheels fall off? Here's Barkley's answer.
I'll probably be one of those guys that it'll be out of nowhere. Like, I'll probably just wake up one day, whether it's next year or 2 years or 4 years, and just be like, yeah, it's over. One of my favorite plays of all time is probably my favorite play of all time is Barry Sanders. So probably similar to that. Maybe one day, it'll be out of nowhere. I'll probably be balling and just be like, yeah, call it quits.
I love that because that's what I'm going to do. I've told you that before. It's going to happen without warning. One day I'm going to be here, and the next day I won't be here. It was almost today, frankly. I was saying before the show, I was so tired when I woke up. It's like, after 15 years of loyalty and showing up every day, I could probably one day just say, I didn't feel like doing the show. What are you going to do, fire me? But anyway, before I would ever do that, I would just say, I'm done. That's it. I'm gone, and I'm never coming back. So Eagles fans did not like that. They don't like that. This is a team whose fans have very little to worry about. And the last thing they want to worry about is Saquon Barkley leaving before his physical skills leave him.
Yeah, I hear that, and I hear them, wanting Saquon Barkley as long as they can have him, and I don't think that time or that conversation of him just stepping out of the way is anywhere near in the foreseeable future. I don't, because I think he's a guy that takes incredible care of himself, and he is one of these freaky running backs that looks like he can get into double-digit years in his career and play in the NFL and still be good. And we see one of those guys every now and then. I mean, Derrick Henry, we were seeing that too. Again, freak of nature, that type of guy. But I understand where he's coming from, and sometimes this is where you see from some of the greatest freaky athletes in any sport, right? They don't want to leave you with a lasting impression of them being old and not as good as they once were. And I think that is in the mind of some of the greats, especially the freaky, special physically gifted people. That is in their mind. They don't want to look like, as you would say, caca sometimes at the end of their career and ever be associated with that type of play or looking like that. And I think Saquon Barkley, being probably the freakiest guy on his team, on every team he's been on since he's 5 years old, he's probably going to be one of those guys that doesn't want to deal with that. And then too, it's a thankless position. I mean, look at running back. Look where it's gone from him. It's brutal. I used to hand the ball off to Mike Allstott and Cadillac Williams and go, oh my gosh, I would look around, I wouldn't carry out my fake, and I'd go, oh, I would have broke my neck 3 times on that one play, and my shoulder and my knee. How can they withstand that? Right.
Neck brace.
Neck brace. I need that neck brace you were wearing there. So that's where, I understand a running back's pain. And look at his career. He's one of the best athletes in football. You didn't really get to see that or how great he was. Not on a good team with the Giants. You don't get to see those great ability that he has. He gets on a good team now. Whoa, is he the best player in football? I mean, so it's a brutal position. It's a tough position. And, yeah, I hope he hangs around for a few more years, but I don't see him as a guy that's going to be in year 13 still playing football.
He had that first rookie year, which all rookie years are, not to be confused with your second rookie year. We had 1,307 rushing yards. And then he had 1,000 in his second season, missing 3 games. And then that's when we got into it. And I think it was his second season. He still had 1,000 yards. He had an ankle injury early, and he fought through it.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that right?
Yep.
And then 2020 is when he tore the ACL early in the year in week 2. And then, these numbers from 2021, 13 games, 13 starts, 593 rushing yards, 3.7 yards per carry. We forget now, but there was a period of time where it felt like this guy came out hot.
Yep.
And the injuries that are a reality of the position caused him to diminish. And yes, in his contract, even in his contract year, he did 962 yards in 14 games. And in hindsight, I can understand the thinking that the Giants employed, even though the thinking ended up being misguided, because they fell into that trap of, we can find another running back anywhere. And we don't need to pay 15, 16, 17 million a year to Saquon Barkley because we can find somebody a lot cheaper whose production will be relatively equivalent. It's the analytics. It's the wins above replacement or whatever the hell all that stuff is.
Yeah.
It's what do we pay? It's the original analytics in football before it became a facet of figuring out when to go for it on fourth down. Analytics in football was all about personnel management. How much are we paying the guy? How good is he? How less could we pay someone else? And how much of the gap would exist between their talents, and dollar for dollar, is it worth it?
Yeah.
That's what the Giants, that's what the
Right.
Titans to a certain extent did. That's what the Raiders did.
Yes.
With Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry, not
Yeah,
respectively.
the Bengals.
Yeah, and that's right. They were done with Joe Mixon. They were going to cut Joe Mixon until the Texans said, whoa, he's available?
Yeah,
We'll
right,
take him.
Right.
So they just got it wrong. They got it wrong because they didn't realize this guy still had the potential in the right scenario with the right players around him to be a freaking superstar. And there's no way he has the season he had last year with the Giants.
No, that's exactly
It did him
right.
a favor.
That's right. Well, he's not going to reach that potential when you're talking about with the team they have. And that's where, again, there's an old common thought in the NFL, right, that you don't let your best players go or don't let them leave the football team, especially when you're not a very good football team, right? I mean, if you got one team that's damn good and they got a bunch of good players, hey, somebody's got to go. We know that. We've seen that with the Eagles this year and this offseason. But usually with the poorer teams, there's less great players, good players, and there's always been the old adage of like, on those type of teams, you don't let those type of players go. But this situation is a little different. It is the running back room like you talked about.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.